Gentlemen, and welcome to Press R. Women in Cameroon, like elsewhere in the world, have come a long way in political representation. In 2013, they scored above the 30% target in the National Assembly and backed home 26% in the Senate. Since then, their representation has been improving by the day on other spheres of national life. Why some women feel comfortable with the improvement within the past decade, others say it is just the beginning of a long journey to equality with men. Are they walking their talk on this journey, or they are just talking their talk and looking up to men to see whether the time is ripe to make another concession in political representation? I am Kilian Dandifoni Yaounde, and this is Press Out. Welcome back. On today's edition of our debate on Press R, this is what we have as a theme: more women in politics, song or action. We're going to see how they have been walking their talk, or probably they are just talking their talk. And moving on to discuss this topic today on Press R, we have three eminent women. Senator Emilia Nkeze is a former member of Parliament, whom we welcome to Press Asset. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, my host. And I think that you've not been an error to bring us on this panel. We'll definitely beef out and dish out what Cameroonian women and men would want to hear.
Yes, and we have Yayof Adeline Benkom, who is a women empowerment leader. You're welcome to Press R.
Thank you very much, Kilian, for this opportunity.
Yes, are you just leading the women on their own path, or you are leading the women among men in your activities?
I believe in gender equality and not just women's empowerment.
Thank you so much. We have our own Chonko Becky Bisong, who is a senior journalist. She is the national coordinator of AFMEC, and she also is a women's rights advocate. You're welcome to Press R, Becky.
Thank you, Kilian, for inviting me. When I looked at the topic, I asked myself, even if it's a song, more women in politics could be a song. We learn through pedagogy and even in church that when you sing with an illustrative song drives home the sermon. And in pedagogy, that repetition helps the student to learn more. And so it may be a song, but we need the song to
be put into practice.
Yes, and there are already results,
yes,
but we need the results to be consolidated and enhanced.
Thank you so much. There's one person, a male, a man, whom we have the impression and we are told, reliably told, that he is on the doorsteps of the set today. We're talking about Lionel Nkungaba Fongo, who is a politician. You're going to meet him immediately he comes in. I'm going to present him to you, ladies and gentlemen. At this moment, we invite Emmanuela Vemni, who has been reading the newspapers for Press R. This is all about Press R.
Politics once again dominated newspaper columns the week ending. Southwest chiefs are urged in the Sun to remain faithful to CPDM and BIA covenant, and in no time the chiefs appealed to BIA to launch campaigns in the Southwest in municipal updates. Before the Post reports that it was PM's envoy who tells New Southwest Chiefs President that BIA is the choice. The hidden is clear that this unfolded during the elective General Assembly of Southwest Chiefs Conference in Limbe, during which His Royal Majesty Dr. John Mokube was elected new SWEC president in the dawn. Then Agbobala urges traditional rulers to quit politics in the Herald Tribune. To the horizon, preserving culture and protecting democracy are the reasons Agbobala, international lawyer, thinks Cameroon's chiefs must stay neutral in 2025. Then, former Governor Abaka Hamad says administrative officials are electoral fraud agents in the post before Elekam is accused of marginalization of Northwest and Southwest in voter registration in Cameroon in the horizon as the regions count just 14% of registered voters. Cameroon Tribune, however, warns against fake news during the electoral period. Vivre ensemble or living together is reportedly under attack in Mayo Centre in the South region in breaking news Bileng as irate population attacks non-natives in the Guardian Post, earning Kamto and Cabral Libi's condemnation of government's proactive silence in the face of this. Calm is reported to have returned in Mayo Centre after suspicious death triggered mayhem in Cameroon Insider, before Kenjo Jumbam's family accuses Pressbook of piracy and non-payment of royalties in the Herald Tribune. The same Pressbook accused of stealing Kenjo Jumbam's royalties in Newswatch. Family of Fonka Shang condemns omission of the name from Honours Hall at the National Assembly in municipal updates. At the time, government and stakeholders wanted turnaround in Cameroon's slow economic growth in Cameroon Insider. Cameroon Tribune is of the opinion that public-private partnership is required to leapfrog economic growth, and one of Africa's business tycoons, Tony Elumelu, proposes ways to vitalize Cameroon's economy and catalyze prosperity in the Guardian Post. What Municipal Update terms new economic blueprint for Cameroon proposed at the maiden Yaoundé Economic Confab, during which PM saluted Tony Elumelu's economic ingenuity in the same paper. And as Interim Mines Minister Professor Fu Callistus Gentry discusses how to strengthen economic cooperation with Emirati Ambassador to Cameroon in the Guardian Post, UN pledges more support for Northwest and Southwest reconstruction with PM in municipal updates. Good news indeed for such regions under reconstruction like the far north, where the first realizations are carried in Cameroon Tribune. But with Cameroon's abusive firing of coaches since 2011 costing the state 2.3 billion CFA francs of taxpayers' money in the Post newspaper, there are fears such progress may be marred, as according to a Bobala human rights lawyer, this fine levied by FIFA on Cameroon could have been used to build roads, water systems and schools in the horizon. The sorry state of the roads and improper waste management, which are once again on the blacklist of Prime Minister Dion Gute. For the umpteenth time, he puts pressure for something to be done in Cameroon Tribune. Diaspora Kitchen event in Mwanko is set to imbibe fresh culinary culture in African chefs in Newswatch. The Post presents Amadou Tumona's initiative, Diaspora Kitchen 2025, as a winning recipe. To the Voice, Diaspora Kitchen is a recipe of success. On this season 2, Diaspora Kitchen to the Guardian Post showcases innovative African cuisine and celebrates rich cultural heritage. Northwest athletes then carry the day at the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope in Cameroon Insider as Husseini Hassan and Galim Lizette are new Mount Cameroon Race champions in the Post. Northwest athletes then conquer Mount Cameroon again in The Voice. But Cameroon Tribune wants to know who will be Cameroon's Ballon d'Or. Until I come your way again, this is your Hour with the Press.
Yes, thank you so much, Emanuela. It's all about the press. And I should remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that you are on Press Hour. This is a program we broadcast every Sunday at 12:30 from Studio 4 of CRTV Production Center at Mbala 2, and we are live here every Sunday. We're going to meet you next Sunday, Manuela, God willing. Our topic for today is more women in politics, song or action. And we introduced our panelists already. We're going to start with Yayov Adeline Benkum, who is a women's empowerment leader. Now, where are you with empowering the women? Where are you with pushing them from the grassroots to political positions, to decision-making positions, to representation in the national life?
Yeah, thank you, Kilian. Before I I get into that, first of all, I want to say when I looked at the theme for this year, for all women and girls, rights, equality, and empowerment, I was very happy because there is some emphasis on girls. You know, if you don't prepare those who are going to take over, as the women are fading out, their girl children will not be available. And secondly, when I looked at the theme, the topic for today, as a singer also, I was wondering the metaphor you used by referring to more women is probably as a song, because songs are also very beautiful things and they impact a lot too on community.
And that's part of your title. Yeah, Yof is the Queen of Music.
Yes.
Yes,
yes.
And it's a traditional title.
A title bestowed on me by the Paramount Phonom So, Sambinglo the First.
To whom we wish a happy Sunday.
A happy Sunday to you,
Yes,
Your
we were
Majesty.
talking about moving the children, the girls, to replace the women.
So, talking about today's topic, I also read something about what the UN Women Representative in Australia said, which ties exactly with this topic. And she said this year is it's a reminder, you know, it's 30 years exactly since we came from Beijing, and things were never the same again in Cameroon since women went to Beijing. It's exactly 30 years old. And she says this year is a reminder that progress is not just about reflection, but taking decisive, bold steps to turn our commitment into action. Taking decisive, bold steps. When I look back, some years back, you see, you could count, you know, with fingers the number of women that were in key political positions, elective positions, like in parliament, in the councils. And with the new electoral code of 2012, there was some semblance, I would say, of introduction of quota system into the electoral law. And this created, you know, a movement which we know is more women in politics, because in that electoral code we were given the opportunity to make sure that women occupy a certain quota, and that they called it socio.
That is the gender aspect.
Gender aspect,
yes.
to mainstream gender into elective positions.
Yes, and I was going to come to that since you've made mention of that. We should also give special thanks, you as women, to those leaders, political leaders, who capitalized on gender aspect, because it doesn't actually give any quota. It doesn't mean any kind of thing. It gives the people involved
equal opportunity.
To consider. You should consider gender aspect.
Yes.
If they don't, they don't know whether it is one woman to 6 men, or it is one woman to 30. So it is thanks to some of the leaders at the time who said no. There should be no list from any political party going in for the parliamentary, that is the National Assembly and the Senate, without a woman as a main candidate, not alternate, because that's what the men were doing. So that's exactly it. And then some of the people at the time, you had Mr. Fonka Mazu, who capitalized on that as the president of the electoral board of LECAM, and you also have the president of the national president, your president of the CPDM, who said that there should be no list without a woman. Yes, I just want to corroborate what you are saying, because we followed that.
Yes, our national president has been very clear about it and has insisted, and the party has moved up to about 30%, which is fair enough. But like women on the ground, we are saying, give us parity, Give us parity means if we can take 50, why not?
Okay.
It mustn't be a 30% something fixed there or a 20% or something. But the more women in politics movement created great awareness, because it had to start from there. You are a woman, politics is not a men's thing, and you have to work hard to deserve it. It's not just about giving.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It is not given, it should not be given to you on a platter of gold. We have a woman here who went right up to the Senate of Vice President of the Senate. Vice President of the Senate from 2013 to 2018. That is Senator Emilia Nkeze. 30% he was talking about. But in Parliament, the last Parliament, the one I'm talking about, women in Cameroon, the National Assembly went beyond the 30% you clamored for. Within this time was 31.3%. So you should be satisfied somehow with that percentage.
You should be satisfied.
Yes, I was talking to you, but since we have Lionel Kungaba, who has finally made it here, please come and we are going to welcome you, sir. We trust. We just want to think that you had some issues on the way. Finally, you are here. The one man in a class in the house of women, of ladies. You're welcome to Press R.
Thank you, Kylian, and happy Sunday to all our viewers. It's always a pleasure to be on CRTV, especially Press Hour. I want to acknowledge the fact that I'm sitting with my moms and especially Senator Emilia Nkeze, which is my mother, and this will be a pleasure to talk about issues concerning women in politics. Apart from being a politician, I'm a he-for-she ambassador for the UN Women, and this gives me that opportunity to be here with the ladies.
Now, let's say that there is gender inequality because we have 3 women, 1 man. That's not what we're talking
It's
about.
very rare. Always
It's
on
rare.
this panel you
Okay,
have
2 men.
an all-male panel. So for once...
Senator, I was asking you, you came up as women in Cameroon from 2013 to 2018 at the National Assembly, 31.3%. And then in the Senate, you were 26%. Yes. You felt comfortable with that? At least was a great strike.
I wouldn't just jump into and accept your conclusion the way you've looked at it, because I want to prepare the ground and prepare the mindset of the women that it is a man's world. You see, what we have, we are clamoring and asking from who? From the men. So they decide which quantity, which fraction of the cake that is in front of them to give to the women. So if you come into politics with that in your mind, you are going to be very happy each time a crumb falls from the table for you to pick, put it in plain English. I say so because I cannot decipher how we come here to look at the percentage of the population of women in politics, in parliament, in National Assembly / Senate, or the councils, and we are talking about song or action. By population census, according to World Bank 2024, women in this country called Cameroon, we are of 51 point plus percentage, which means that if we are counting the ballot papers, we are already 100% to victory. How come that we come here to start asking ourselves whether the 26% or the 31% we are happy? Definitely not happy.
Whose fault? You are in the majority. Now, whose fault? Because we are talking about elections. And that is the crux of the matter. Don't you mobilize yourselves to go to the polls and vote out these men and take over? That exactly is what we are asking you.
I had put forth this question within my mind's mind, and the answers that fell in place were many. To respond to you in strict terms, I think and I suggest that you be honest to your conscience, because she just talked about the electoral code, which stipulates that 30%. Okay, if all the women turn out to vote women in place, and we have 90%, is that okay by you, the men? I don't think so. Who comes up with the progress or the programming of the 30%? Go and
the
take...
electoral code doesn't even give percentage.
No percentage.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 30% is UN and some other international organizations.
Go and take a photograph of the people who sit in United Nations. Count the number of women who are there. Come and take pictures of presidents of this world. Count the number of women who are presidents. Go and take the population census of the world. Women are more. That's why I began by saying that it's a man's world. And so you men, with all due respect, please come to understand that in as much as it is your world, you were given a helper from the biblical standpoint, which are the women. And with our...
That's comforting the position of men that you are helpers.
I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm coming to something.
Okay.
If we are helpers, our voices will count. And our voices will not only count in the bedroom, on the dining table, or behind the houses. It should count when we are sitting side by side. So you can use your elbow to tickle me. What do you think about this? When it's all men, how do you feel? Now, come to think of it, the moment you rise, as I rose to the position of third vice president of the Senate, you pose already a problem to the men folk who think that it was meant for us. And because of their non-numerical strength, in any decision taken, it will be shocking to announce to you that even women will support what the men have said just because they think it shouldn't have been you, it should have been me. So they don't valorize you. They don't see what you have.
So to a great extent, the problem of a woman is another woman.
Of course, yes. Somehow. And not to only say somehow, more often than not, the problem of a woman is a woman.
So you should go back and fix your house before you come out to
We will say that is why it is reduced to a song. Because when women they want to put action on the table, there are so many contradictions that will come up. It is me because I've been here longer than you. She who is the leader, she has seen beyond the ordinary faces that this person has the potentials to become somebody who can transcend, who can direct, who can convey, who can assist. But the majority of the women who think that it should come by virtue of longevity or age who open a fight. And that's where the man comes in now.
Now, I will come back to you. Let me go to Chonko Becky Bison, who is the national coordinator of women's movement. She also is women's rights advocate. I'm just going to ask you a simple question. Have you not been defending your clients, the women, well as the advocate of their rights? Because when I listen to Senator Emilia Nkeze, is she talking about where it's a men's world, we are helpers. So why don't you take you women from helpers to competitors, or you move together? And why not, like Yayov said, if you deserve 90% as women, you should have it.
Killian, woman is a helpmate, yes. Competitors, we may be able to compete if the playground is level.
Good.
And when I talk about playground, I talk about education, I talk about competence, and I talk about sociocultural hindrances, which do not, if you look at sociocultural hindrances and discriminations, they are not the same for men and women across Cameroon. I talk about resources, how when you take a common Bayam Selam woman or a dual career woman like Yayov, who may want to hold the hand of a young, talented, potential woman she has seen, how does she raise the funds to sponsor and lead her through to political leadership? Because the scale of preference and priority scale for women is wider than for men. You know, a woman will have 5,000 francs, and there are about 12 things on her list she needs to do. And so she will be juggling with what is more important. Is it going to register to vote or do her identity card, or is it to pay, buy charcoal to roast some fish by the roadside so that she may be able to...
It sounds like a joke, but there's reality in it. Now, when you look at the people who withdraw money from the banks at the weekend, there are more of men. And at the beginning of the week, you look at the people who save money in the banks, they are women. It means that men take and give to women.
Men take and give to women.
No,
I beg your pardon.
It means that
to find out what they do with the money they withdraw.
What the women have, men also give. So women should have more.
Killian, I advise you to do a survey on what you just said, to be able to establish that men take and give to women, and that women may be saving more. Revolving funds called Njange and micro finance schemes have come to educate women and enable them to know that they can save up 1,000, 5,000 francs every week to be able to achieve their goals. But how many women are able to do this? And how many other women can decide to give up like 100,000 francs a year or a month to be able to swell the financial package for a female candidate, either as mayor in the regional councils or as a parliamentarian?
And
the problem
goes
stays
right up to 30 million.
So, so the song, we will continue singing the song until all actors in the chain understand that Emilia just mentioned, the senator, mentioned that we are 51+%.
Yes.
But when you look at the education rate, for example, I mentioned education earlier. I need to land on this. What is the percentage of the poor in Cameroon illiterate, given men and women?
Now we have more girls in education than men.
They go more girls in education than men by the time they reach university or have the propensity to vie for political posts. How many? What will be the ratio? So I am saying that we will continue singing the song and will continue struggling to empower the next generation of Cameroonian women leaders, from girls, until all men and women understand that
politics,
and women especially understand that our numbers are our strength, and that political power is the only power that rules all other powers. Kawala said this. I give the credit to her. Political power is the only power that rules all others. So women should shove their individual caps and be able to identify the potential competent ones and throw our weight and our numbers on these, so that we can be able to count and see that the song is leading to palpable action.
Yes, the next question I'll ask you when I come back to you, the women, is what are the lyrics of the song? Actually, lyrics of the song, I simply mean, what do you put into that song to make things move? I'm going to also pay tribute to Edith Kawala, you talked about, who was one of the 2 presidential candidates in the 2011 presidential election in Cameroon, and she came out the 6th candidate, while another candidate, Esther Dang, came out 11th. I wanted to have Kawala here to ask her, after paying tribute, you tried, it didn't work, and where are you? Well, she will have to answer that question. And I want to see other women like her come up, challenge the status quo, and go further. Now, to the one person, male person here, there is so much blame on men on what is happening to women. Why are you men, doing this to the women?
Thank you, Killian. You know, we are in a patriarchal world and the society, and this makes automatically men to dominate on women. But I want to say that as time goes, most of these women are trying to make sure that they are being considered in all these decision-making positions. When you look at political parties or other entities in the world and where women are heading, you see the way things are moving, and it's really very different. When you look at elected officials, for instance, local elected officials, mayors, senators, and parliamentarians, when these positions are being held by women, you see the work they do, because most of these women who rise at these positions are the chosen ones from the population, and they know exactly what the population needs. So at times in political parties, in other organizations, structures, they are women, they don't take into consideration the equity. When you, even in private companies, you see the pay gap that has been put between men and women. You see someone that has the same competence, a man that has the same competence with a woman, but they have different salaries because you are a woman.
But not in Cameroon.
Not in Cameroon.
Please,
Yes,
please.
not in Cameroon.
Not in Cameroon.
I did a survey with UN Women, and I don't want to call names of companies here.
In Cameroon?
Yes, of course. And that is being practiced. So gender pay gap is a reality in companies. I said private companies. That's what I said.
You should report that to women's rights advocate, Chonko Becky Bison is here.
Yes, and
she is going to rally her kind, and they go to those companies and move things around.
You know,
It's wrong.
there is a problem of job in Cameroon. And when some of these women go there and they have been offered these positions with the salary, they are obliged to accept because they need something to do. Moreover, the laws have not been set in order to create an equal society and world.
We will come to laws. Let me ask you this question. Those companies, what we know is that there are some companies in which, if you go by parity, they say, okay, if you are a woman and you want to be equal to a man, if a man works 11 out of 12 months a year, you should work 11 out of 12 months, 1 month for your annual leave. But there are some women who, because of nature, not their fault, but a private company needs results. They say, okay, a woman has 2 months, sometimes 3 months for maternity leave, sometimes for this and that, and probably that's where the salary disparity.
That should not be a problem, because the woman does not give birth every year. That should not be a problem. So I think when you look at the rate of giving birth, is about 2 or 3 years gap.
Yes.
And if a woman has 2 or 3 years, and some of these women don't go on leave even, is when they are pregnant that they have the leaves. And making sure that there should be parity, we have to take into consideration that nature had made it that a woman gives birth. And giving birth, you need some time. And you see most often some of these women, they go on maternity leave maybe 2 or 3 weeks before they give birth. And after 1 month or 6 weeks, some of them are already back to work.
I understand your language is completely he for she language.
Yes. Of course.
Now, let me as a man, even if you are he for she, what should men do to change the trend?
I think the narratives has to change by considering that women are equal to men. What a man can do, a woman can do. It's very possible for the narratives to change by accepting that the women that they have a lot to give in our society, that they can also be part of the decision-making organs, that they can bring a lot for the development of our society, and also look at the past and look at those who have been holding positions, and you see the results. You will acknowledge the fact that women can do much to give it. Men, those who undermine women or think that women should always be at the second position or behind the scene, are those who don't value or don't know the capacity of the women.
You're my son, in fact.
Really your son and not my friend. Okay.
I want to step in to address some issues he touched on. We're saying it's dominantly a men's world. And all of this stems from socialization.
Yes.
And it constitutes a great impediment for women's empowerment in Cameroon, in the sense that Today, what we are trying to do is the catch-up theory, meaning that because the women have been held behind by stereotypes, societal things, okay, let's give them
A bit.
to catch up. But the problems are more fundamental than just giving them a bit, because we have to mainstream gender and not mainstreaming women. Mainstreaming gender is that women should be given the opportunity to be in the mainstream of things. What do I mean by that? If all decision-making spheres are manned by the men,
Okay.
so how do they, no matter how you have gone to school, Becky, no matter how much money you have, once the decisions are taken by the men, for instance, they say it is, you know, if it's you wearing the shoes that knows where it hurts,
pinches.
the men cannot articulate the women's problems more than them. So there is an issue of socialization that has maintained men in most decision spheres, and they tend to maintain women in all care positions. For instance, we say, okay, a lot has been done, you have a women's ministry.
Social affairs.
Why are the women in government mainly only in those care positions where they will take care social affairs and they take care of the
Family.
sick, women's empowerment, the family, you take care of the family, and so on. But you don't see women in certain key positions.
You have about 11 women as would do the post of
Ministers or
of ministers.
Would you just maybe highlight some of those positions to make things clearer for us?
We have women's empowerment and the family. We have social affairs. We have telecommunications, and we have
housing.
We have housing. Those are not taking care of women. We have secretaries of state in about 7 to 8 ministries. Those are women. We are not saying that you have enough. That's not what I'm saying. Just to say that you have women who are not just caretakers in government.
Okay, that's right, but I was not talking about enough, because that is another problem. Enough is quantitative. It means you are just counting representation. We want qualitative representation, meaning women in key decision-making spheres. How many are there to impact, to reverse, and to catch up?
To review the policies.
And to catch up, to review the policies in such a manner that the women should be given what they deserve.
What they deserve, I like that
Because
word.
like they gave the example he was talking, I look around me, I'm a counselor. I'm a counselor, and when I look at most of
potential mayor.
Yes, most of the mayors from where I come from, I don't want to be on a sit par les contemporains, but you see, it's like their personal property.
Okay.
They don't care about society. They're not doing much, and yet they think that because they have the money, they're going to come back to perpetuate that. Women who are caretakers of families know what it means to hold responsibilities, to take care of community, and to be there. So let the women be given a chance, and let the law come out clearly and give equal opportunity.
That is exactly what I was going to touch. Senator Emilia, you were in Parliament. Laws come from there. That is where we vote the laws. And for the electoral code that many people are clamoring for a review, it is only in Parliament that this can happen. And some of the sections of that code, that law, can only be touched if there is even the revision of the Constitution that makes it more difficult. What have some of you who have got right up there done, or what are you doing to make sure that it is not a wish, that the law makes it mandatory for women to have positions, quotas, for example, when it comes to elective positions?
You've put about 3 questions in one package, and I'm going to select what I choose to respond.
Yes.
But before I do that, I want to congratulate my son for being honest to his conscience. He's not just a he for she ambassador. He's proven to us that for real, he's there to protect the interests of the men and the women alike. Thank you so much, my son. Now to you, Mr. Nda Killian. This country is a presidentialist country. You must take note of that. And we have the executive and the legislators that are supposed to be working hand in hand. One is supposed to do the check and balance of the other. But how much truism is attached to that we leave that for another debate. But coming into parliamentary business, you should know that that's now I'm speaking to Cameroonians to understand that when you are called to register for the election, go and register, so that you'll be able to choose the parliamentarians that will go into parliament and affect the law. They will do what? They will affect the law that will be given to them. They will read it, they will digest it, they will come out with possible suggestions that will be given to the appropriate quarters. So when the electoral law or the financial law or the feministic law has to be touched, it will be brought for what they call discussions. Then, if there is a tie and pull, they'll go in for a democratic vote, so that that law can be passed, rejected, amended, or disqualified. Now, when you do not put in, you do not go and register, I'm speaking this in very hard terms, and then those who have understood the polemics of this, they go and register, and they brought forth the people that they think will be able to tell and man the subjects of the house. It will work to the whims and caprices of what they want. Now, let me tell you, listen, yes. This is the parliamentary house. We have one party which is represented there in its real majority, absolute majority. And so, therefore, if a law comes up, I want to tell you gracefully that when it gets to a democratic election, for that law in the house, it will go according to what they want. And believe you me, there are people who want to go the reverse direction, but there's something that calls my hands are tied because I have to follow party lines. Discipline. Therefore, Mr. Anda, you have called us here to talk. Let's talk plainly that people should go and put their names on the electoral register to choose the people that they know will be able to serve their interests. And so for the women folk, if the interest is being protected at the level of the parliament, and the quota for women represented there is also improved, of course the law is going to work to our favor.
Yes, I'm going to come back to you because you choose, as you said, the questions you answer.
Yes.
There's still a fundamental question that I want to have from you. You can only turn the tables if you make the law not to favor anyone, to give quotas, that whatever
a neutral law.
Whatever happens for parliament, you need 50. I hear in Senegal,
in Rwanda
even
there's 50-50.
We have already
parity.
Such parity. Now, what stops you from copying from examples that are working to transpose that here, and instead of just singing your song that you sing so well,
what stops us women, or what stops the political will from?
You have to go make sure that it enters the law. What are you doing to make sure that it becomes law?
That's why we're here. She said it, and I'm saying that we are asking that there should be a law that designates or affects a certain percentage. United Nations say 30%. African Union, not very clear. In some countries, you just mentioned Senegal. What is the Cameroonian law? So there is need to revisit the 2012 Electoral Code.
Now, you have Parliament is going to open next week.
Yeah.
And it's a crucial parliamentary session. Mm-hmm. You have your kind, women in that parliament. Why don't you pass through them to table this type of thing that reviews the text, so that women don't just say, okay, what they give us, it is not a chance.
Killian, it doesn't work like that. If I may say something, it has to. All bills are tabled in parliament by government.
I just said
so, when we talk here, it should now be carried up by government to Parliament, she cannot go and
A
talk
private
to
bill.
a private
Except
bill.
in the private bill.
Doesn't work.
I know the stakes of private bills that are not actually accepted in our, our
very
present
slim.
system. But you have women ministers, you have women parliamentarians, senators. Why don't you go lobby? Because everything in government is about lobbying.
Killian, I just wanted to say that many women's constituted groups have been working with a network of women parliamentarians for the promotion of gender equality created since 2011 to ensure that whether there are just 5 women in parliament, these women should be able to represent, bring to the table of discussion the preoccupations and needs of the women folk. WA is one, more women in politics is another. I cannot name them here. We will continue to talk. You said it's a song, and we will continue to sing. Madam the Councillor just mentioned that there is need for a bill, and that bill can only come from government. We are asking the powers that be, that there has been proven political will. We need this political will to be manifested in action by putting in place a law stating a specific quota for the representation of women in politics, in political parties, in parliaments. We need this so that we can begin to dream that the Africa we want in 2063 will start with Cameroon in 2035.
Yes, I want you to call on them. I also want you to lobby to go behind and work. Yes, you say it, and then I ask you one very important question when it comes to men and women. Yes.
Okay. You see, all of this saga begins from the way that the lists are constituted from the base. Like she pointed out, you come with the money, you come with the funds, you pay the piper, therefore you determine the tune.
Yes, sir.
You would want to say that if I bring Adeline Benkum into my list, tomorrow she's going to open her eyes. Tomorrow she's not going to respect me. So many other factors.
Tomorrow she want to take my place.
Many other factors will come into play. Now they elbow you at that level. They tell you, we want to do a pre-selection. You are now put at the side. You may only come up again because they have seen that maybe your popularity is going to bring, you're going to be a vibrant person. Now calculatively waiting for you in front where they will be positioning people.
I think that is the platform where that your song has to be in its highest.
Don't worry, we are singing. You told us we are singing now. Yeah. You will hear songs here.
Okay.
So what I'm telling you here,
are going to transform into action.
Yes.
That's what we.
What I'm telling you here is, when the base is already perforated, the leaching of the feminine power is absolute. So by the time you get up there, you find just that very resistant minerals of women that are there. The Mendelian theory of selective living. You know, you live by selection. Those who can stand the environmental hazards are those few.
Survive.
The survival of the fittest will now survive it to the top. But let me also come in here. At that top, party lines will pin you down.
You
cannot talk.
Party discipline.
You go and meet a minister, like you say, who deals with feminist attributes. She will take the law. She will take your suggestions quite all right. But like Adeline says, the bill comes from the government.
And she's part of the government.
But if she's part of the government, she's not part of the decision making. Watch out. Everything is...
Maybe at that level,
everything
lack of initiative to
let me tell you, everything is stratified. Life is a stratified game.
So are you saying you surrender?
We cannot surrender.
Can never
we will
surrender.
continue to sing the song like your caption says, because as we are speaking here, the government is following this program.
Very much so.
So they will listen to us. If the other women who bring suggestions, handwritten suggestions, do not go through, our voices here will be a songbird in their ears. They will not find peace until they will understand that there are women we are not asking for much. We are just asking for for what
A
is
fair
our
share.
due.
Our due.
That's all.
Yeah.
We are not saying that the men should leave the country for us to run. That's not what we have said. We are saying that we can do better.
But if you run the country, what will happen?
We will get to that point.
Okay.
If you have a child that you just put to bed and that child gets up one morning at 3 months and starts running, there's a problem there.
I will not make any
Killian,
comment.
let me give some tips.
Yeah, we have 6.5 minutes left.
Yes.
There is
Only?
there is this question that I wanted to kind of challenge to you, the women. You are always talking about equality. I've always clamored for equity. Equity, according to me, means that if women deserve 70%,
and
they should be
have
given
it.
the 70%.
They should have it.
Why are you so much talking about equality?
Let me attempt an answer. Equality means equal opportunity.
Okay.
It is not a numerical value of 10-5. When we start talking about the numerical value, we talk about parity.
Okay.
Meaning that, well, since you don't even want to allow the 70% women who could do better than the men, okay, give us the 50-50 so that it's fairness, which is what you call equity. It means that it will be fair that everybody has their fair share. But what we are saying is equal opportunity. There is a position for an MP in a constituency. Give the women equal opportunity to take that position as the men. And so it is not a matter of
Numbers
counting.
Well,
numbers from a democratic point of view,
yes,
that the more you are, the more you get. But numbers, not that they count that, it has to be this, it has to be that.
I think the answer,
Yes.
I'm satisfied with that answer. It is, and I think other people also have learned that when we are talking about equality between the men and the women, we are not talking
equal
about
opportunities.
We're talking instead about
equal
opportunity. Thank you.
Yes.
It's time that I go back to Mr. Kungaba Lionel. What actually will you take home? This time, I'm not saying that you should line up with women again. Well, if you must, fine. So what's the take home?
I think the take home message will be to encourage women to support women, first of all, because the majority, when you look at some of these discriminations, they use women to fight women.
Yes.
And some of these women they use to fight women are not even competent enough to hold some of these posts. So I think the first thing would be that women, first of all, support their sisters and their fellow comrades in the different spheres of life, political parties, companies, and everywhere. When you look at violence that is being perpetrated on women, 70% of violence is being perpetrated on women by women.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Directly or indirectly?
Directly or indirectly. And some of these things are things that make women to be shy or to stay away from some political issues. When you look at Cameroon, for instance, you look at all the decision-making positions in Cameroon, there's no woman. The president, the secretary general at the presidency, the prime minister, the secretary general at the prime ministry.
The High Court.
You look at the parliament. Parliament, you have a man. Senate, you have a man.
Constitutional
all
Council.
the Constitutional Council, all the House
Key
of Chiefs and everything, everything, women. Women always come, second deputy, third deputy, even in councils. How many women are mayors today? How did they come there? Most of these councils...
Now, just way out from what you are talking about. You are a politician in a political party. What are you doing? Because in your party is almost the same thing.
I want to say that the Social Democratic Front is one of the parties that tries to bring women at the top line. This is an example here. She has been a pioneer vice president at the Senate, and that was because the will of the party was being given, and the support of the party as well was being given to her for her to be there. Many other women are coming at the timeline, and I take another.
So you are taking one person to make a general.
What I'm taking an example which happened in the political party you mentioned. I can name another organizations out of the political parties and many other examples.
Yes, I take a message from you, Becky.
The take-home message from the Cameroon Association of Women in Media is that Cameroonian women media professionals should support women candidates, should intensify sensitization in Njangi houses, in churches, yes, in churches, I said, in schools. Why not? We should be able to give the civic education to children while they are young so that they know that it is a duty and a responsibility to contribute. And finally, we should be able to help our mothers in the rural areas, conflict zones, to go register, to remind them to go and pick up their voters' cards, and to sensitize them to know where they will be voting on polling day. Because without this information, you can still have your voters' cards and spend the whole day and end up not voting. We have the numbers and we can make a change through the ballot box.
Senator Emilia.
My take-home message and what I leave to you, CRTV, that you should also inculcate into your programs is that Elecam should do everything within its arm to make it easy for people to know where their names are. I cannot be living in Corby Song and my name is at A2D. That's one. Two, the women who are already in elective positions, we women should refuse to be used to fight them.
Manipulation.
Those manipulative attributes that are coming from either women or men, we should shy away from them. Thirdly, like Becky says, I add my voice to hers that, you see, this world, Shakespeare says, is a stage. Play your part. And above all, there is only one Moses at a time. Be that Moses that was given the staff to divide the Red Sea for people to cross. There cannot be two Moseses at a go, except one is a pseudo Moses and the other is a real Moses. I mean, I substantiate. You can have only Adeline as a counselor now, as we are sitting here. I was the vice president of the Senate at the time. The first vice president, feminine vice president, was Mongo. And I told God, let my position not consume my humility. So if you, a woman, you rise to that level, shred away from arrogance, don't pick up those attributes that make people fear you, and you are used as a bad example for other women not to rise.
Thank you so much. I think
Thank you very much.
Just to say a little thing, I want to say there are some, yes, there are some stilty obstacles that we don't notice. In most political parties, when it comes to restructuring the party, the women don't take decision-making spheres. And when it comes to choosing candidate, that is when you discover that the people who have the final say in choosing candidates are all men.
Okay.
Yes, so they should open their eyes and get into those decision-making spheres within the parties,
Killian,
so that they can have their say.
Just 1 second.
Yes.
Our time is
Please,
up.
1 second.
Well, okay.
I wish to thank the director of CRTV and to plead with him using this forum that this program is very educative and the time is short.
Okay.
So I plead with you, sir, that if you can you look at a way to extend the time of this program, it will help Cameroonians to become more educative through this program. Thank you, because I know that you have a listening ear and it shall be done.
And let me assure you that my Director General watches this program from the start to finish, and even the rebroadcast, he has listened to you, Mr. Charles Ndongo. Thank you. Wish you well today. And ladies and gentlemen, you heard Senator Emilia Nkeze, who is a former member of parliament, a senator. We had our own Chonko Beki Bisong, who is senior journalist. She is the national coordinator of AFMEC and women's rights advocate.
Yes.
Yayov Adeline Benkum is a women's empowerment leader, and you listen to her. She had what it takes to lead women. Lionel Kungaba Fongo, I think I should say he is a he for she. You listen to him. He's a politician also. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen.